All right, Shalom Israel, Shabbat Shalom. First and foremost, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops and great millstones who rule well. Shalom to the for elect. Beginning with 144,000. Shalom. And this lesson will be titled, We Will Be Saved in the Midst of Our Enemies. Right? And for the ones who don't know who our enemies are, right, you can go into the Psalms, the 83rd chapter, and it show you the whole list, of everyone who is our enemies, right? And even within us, the 2/3 are considered our enemies, right? But anyways, I read this real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64, saying, The Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, right? And that's how we're going to be saved, right? And Lord willing, I'm part of that number. The Lord has come back to save his elect, right, out of the nation of Israel, right? The 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe, right? But they're going to be scattered from amongst their enemies, because why the Lord scattered us throughout the four corners of the earth, right? We're in the midst of our enemies, so that's why, right? That's why we don't necessarily judge from the outside appearance, right? Because we got Israelites that look like Edomites, right? And we got Edomites that look like Israelites, and right, and so forth. Because while we mingle with the other nations, we're always in the midst of them, right? And we still are in the midst of them, right? We're not in our homeland. We're still in captivity. We're still in our enemy's land, right? So let's get into it. We'll start off with the book of Revelations, the 7th chapter, right, at verse 1. And it reads, And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Right, and that wind is a destroying wind from what the nukes, the ICBM missiles. You can furthermore prove that. I grabbed that real quick in Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 1, and it reads, This is the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon. Babylon, we're talking about who? America. He's saying against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind, right? So that wind is what had destroying wind through those ICBM missiles, right? And not only that, right, we know that Yahweh and the angels will come back, in the midst of that, World War III, right? Those nukes is just a help, right? It's just like the pre-game, people like to say, right? Then Yahweh and the angels go finish off America, right? So let's go back to Revelations, the 7th chapter. We'll start at verse 2, saying, I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads, right? Those servants, right, to be sealed is who we're talking about, the elect, right? They have to, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua has to be sealed in their mind before the angels can bring the destroying wind, right? Verse 4, he said, I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all tribes of the children of Israel, right? So that's the elect, right? And that's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect, because while we hoping to be part of the elect, right, we're hoping to be part of that number, right? Because it's not guaranteed. We don't know we part of the elect or not, right? So we got to continue to do the works and continue to stay humble, right? And pray upon it that we be, what they calling, right? So 5 through 8 just, give you the rundown of, every tribe, 12,000 from each tribe. Right, so we could jump down to verse 8, and it says, And the tribe of Zabulon were sealed 12,000, and the tribe of Joseph, and Joseph just means Ephraim, right? So hold on, Salakia. All right, Salakia. So Joseph just means Ephraim. He said we're sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb. Lamb being who? Yahushua, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, right? And people will read that. People will read all nations, kindreds, and people in tongues and think that it's talking about all nations, talking about all people, right? No, it's talking about the Israelites, right? It's talking about the Israelites. The Lord will take the elect, who are the Israelites, out from every nation, kindreds, and tongue. He not going to deliver us with them, but from amongst them, right? And we go Revelation the 5th chapter. All right, we'll get verse 8 and 9. It says, and when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, being who Yahushua, having every one of them hearts and golden vials full of odors or odors, which are the prayers of saints like you. Verse 9, he says, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Heavenly Father by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. So this is showing you right there that the Lord is going to save us from amongst, these other nations, right? And furthermore, prove that through Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter, right? Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter. So let's grab that real quick. I'm sorry. 36th chapter, verse 23. Sorry. All right. And it reads, and I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, said the Lord power. Right? He said, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes, right? So we're going to be sanctified before their eyes, meaning what? They're going to see Yahushua the angel. They're going to see the elect being beamed up, right? And then you go try to take hold of the elect during those times, right? So this Revelation 11th chapter and verse 12, right? And it reads, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, right? That cloud is what talking about a chariot, a so-called UFO, right? He's saying their enemies beheld them, right? So this is showing you how we're going to be beamed up, right? Lord willing, right? Among that number, right? But the elect is going to be beamed up from amongst the enemies, right? Like it's saying their enemies beheld them. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, what caused a great earthquake? The ICBM missiles, right? Saying the 10th part of the city fell, and the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted, right? So even the elect, they're going to be affrighted at first, right? He said, and gave glory to the Heavenly Father of hell. So then they're going to give, right, all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, right? Unless they, got the victory over the beast, right? Unless they beating up into the chariots, right? And those the one, and like I said, the ones that got the victory over the beast is the elect, right? Revelation 15:1 saying, I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Heavenly Father. And I saw as it were a sea of glass. A sea of glass talking about the what? The firmament, right? AKA the ozone. He said mingled with fire. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the hearts of the Heavenly Father. And that's talking about the elect, right? They got the victory over the beast, right? They had endured it to the end, right? And that was capable and able of being saved, right? And the elect was already predestined from the beginning of the earth, right? They was already foreknew in a sense, right? And the Lord go hide his elect from this destruction, right? So now I'll finish off with Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter and verse 2, right? And it reads, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, right? Why are they going to be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation? Because the people are not expecting the elect to be beaten up in chariots. Because while Esau done put it out in everyone's mind, that these so-called UFOs are driven by aliens, driven by creatures, green creatures, right? But they know that these are the Heavenly Father vehicles, right? They driven by the angels, right? These are the angels that are driving these chariots. They're driving these clouds, these UFOs, right? So He saying shall be amazed at the strength of his salvation. So they go be in ooh, ah, right, and all type of emotions, right? Jealousy, right, and etc. Right? So far beyond all that they looked it for, right? And that's again, it's because people not expecting for, the Lord's elect to be beamed up into the chariots, right? They're not expecting them to have to see their body being changed while they getting beamed up, right? It's going to be, amazed and strange to the people in a sense, right? And, and once again, well, I never said this, but the majority of the elect is going to be beamed up out of America, right? Because majority of the elect, majority of the Israelites are here now, right? Trump trying to deport, the Northern Kingdom, right? And, things of that such. And even so, they still going to come back here, right? I done seen people be deported and they get right back into America within a week, right? But it's just the Lord bringing them back into this judgment to the lake of fire, right? But, with that being said, Lord, this was a quick and edifying lesson, straight to the point, right? With that being said, Shabbat Shalom. That's again, Brakatah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kakwadash. Until next time, Shalom.